This move right here transformed my students' ball striking. Jeremy had the tendency of hitting the ground first or thinning the golf ball, and after applying this Eureka move in 2 simple steps, we eliminated at least 90% poor contacts, and because the ball was being struck properly, we also saw some incredible distance gains as well. So we're going to be breaking this video down into 4 parts. The first one talking about the tendencies, second one being the first step, then the second step, and then combining this to get the Eureka move in your golf swing. So after we let Jeremy warm up and hit a couple of shots, we started by looking at something called the low point. Now, the low point is the bottom part of the golf swing. So in order to get that ball and turf interaction and get the ball up in the air, we want the low point to be past the golf ball. Well, for Jeremy's golf swing, we noticed the low point be very, very neutral. So we weren't hitting down onto the golf ball, nor hitting up on the golf ball either. The low point was pretty much when we were making contact with the golf ball. And as you're probably already aware, we want to get the low point to get that great compression onto the golf ball to be 3 to 4 inches past the golf ball, as that's the perfect point for an iron to hit down onto the golf ball. And when we had a look at Jeremy's golf swing, we noticed 2 things in particular that stood out that were causing this issue. The first one being the body movement, and the second one being the swing direction. Diving into the body movement first. So as Jeremy started his downswing, rather than getting this weight transferring from the trail side to the lead side and seeing the center of the chest go ahead of the golf ball, what we noticed instead was Jeremy leaning backwards too much and making contact with the golf ball with the sternum, the center point of the golf swing being behind the golf ball. So that already was going to encourage him to then hit the golf ball at the lowest point of the golf swing. So we wanted to look at how we could get Jeremy's swing center being the center of the chest here, the sternum, to be ahead of the golf ball at the moment of impact. And to achieve this, we got Jeremy working on a 3-step drill using an alignment stick. Now, I hope your alignment stick is in better condition than mine, but what I want you to do with this is take it and place it across your shoulders like this here. And I want you to set up as if you were to get ready in your posture to hit the golf ball. From the top of the golf swing, just before we initiated that downswing move, we wanted Jeremy to create and develop a little bit of a forward shift as the feel to start the downswing. No rotation, no turn just yet. We wanted him to get the sensation that his sternum was traveling ahead of the golf ball from this face-on view here, just before we then applied the rotation into the golf ball. And when we applied the rotation for step 3 doing this, we had to keep the pressure moving into the lead side of the body. So it was 1 working our way up to the top, 2 leaning forwards towards the target, adding that pressure into the lead foot, keeping that sternum, pushing that sternum in fact in front of the golf ball, and then adding even more pressure as we rotate on the way through. Then using the club with normal golf swings, turning up to the top, feeling the pressure first, and then rotating and turning through. And we hit a couple of shots, just getting used to that movement, just back and forth, 1 to the top, 2 there, and 3 working on the way through. And already noticed an improvement in the strike, just like that one there. You could hear that ball, then turf afterwards interaction, and a much lower, more controlled penetrating ball flight. And of course, now and again, we would see that little bit of a shift back time to time, but it was very, very rare we saw that as we started building this into those stages and then working away into normal full swings doing this. And to add this into full swings, it almost felt to Jeremy like it was all one movement, backswing and downswing, as opposed to feeling a change in direction. It was up to the top, lean, and hit on the way through. And the low point we started to notice creep more past the golf ball around that 2, maybe 3 inch mark. But how could we push this even more so? Well, just before I explain the swing direction, his swing path that we looked into changing. If this is one of your first videos of mine, I'm Harry, a golf teacher professional, posting simple and easy golf tips every single week. And all I ask in return is for you to consider clicking that subscribe button, as it helps me produce more content like this every single week, and it's completely free to do. So moving on to the second bit, which was Jeremy's direction, the direction of his swing arc and path. Well, as he was getting this tilting motion from step one with the body movement like this, where the sternum will be behind the golf ball, it would encourage the club to get too far on the inside as well. So the direction of his swing arc was swinging very much so in to out, and he was finishing his golf swing with very high hands. Now the problem with this, when the swing arc is shifted, where it goes too far from the inside to out path, it encourages the low point to be further back than where it should be. Again, explains why we had that neutral low point, not down or not up on the golf ball. But this was certainly going to promote more of that upward motion into the golf ball. And that's where we started to notice time to time where we'd hit the ground first, or we'd just manage to avoid the ground, sort of jump up and then end up thinning the golf ball. So we had to change the way Jeremy exited in his golf swing. And what we did was we placed an alignment stick set on an angle just like this here, as you can see, is pointing very much so to the left. So what we got Jeremy doing was getting to the top of his swing, encouraging this sensation from step one, but on the way through, as he's turning, we had to get the hips turning towards the wall in order for the hands and the club to avoid traveling through the stick. We wanted those hands, and especially the club, to avoid touching that stick or traveling over the stick if it was to go past it. Immediately, it really encouraged Jeremy to almost feel like he was coming not necessarily over the top, because we checked the swing and it was still getting shallow in this position here, but encouraging those hands to exit this way, the hands to get close to the body, which pushes the club outwards to then hit the golf ball, and then we're exiting through to the left. So the finish position was totally different from before and afterwards. When we saw the swings beforehand, the hands were very high in this position here, and then afterwards we got in the feel and sensation of finishing almost like that Fleetwood finish that we see Tommy do. But the hands are in this great low position here, well controlled, arms and body working back in sync, and that made it so much easier for him to get the strike. So combining these two movements, combining those two movements into your golf swing, how can we take this onto the course? Well, after you've applied these tips into your game, I'd highly recommend checking out my course management ebook guide. The link will be in the description below for that. But we want to be applying these two into one movement. So the initial feel that Jeremy thought worked really well as a thought process for him when he'd go out and practice this at the end of the lesson was from the top of the swing forward and then exit left. We don't want to be afraid of getting more forward just because the alignment stick's in the way here. We want to be ensuring that we're getting still forward on the way through, just avoiding that stick and getting those hands to work really low and get that compression. Then the low point, that's when we start to see the low point go 3 to 4 inches past the golf ball, and even more so in the -5, -6 numbers as well, which was incredible. We also noticed great distance gains of around 10 yards extra with only using an 8-iron. So if you are struggling with your ball striking at the moment, I'd highly recommend trying this Eureka Move out from the top of the swing, getting forward, exiting left, and you will notice a great difference in ball striking and also the direction and distance on your golf shots. There you go, look at that nice little draw to finish. Still a very low ball flight for how hard I rotated through the golf ball on that shot. So if you have come this far, I'd highly recommend clicking that subscribe button, as there's lots more content coming your way every single week. And be sure to comment down below with a tips or drills video topic you'd like me to cover in a future video. This video has been brought to you by GX Golf, who provide high quality golf gloves at a fraction of the price in comparison to their competitors on the market. The links will be in the description below to have a look at getting yourself those and all my other information, tips and drills to help you improve your game. Online coaching, in-person coaching, the course management guide, they'll all be in there. Thanks for watching, and why not check out this video over here if you're looking for more tips to help you control what this club face does.